the Furious, an action movie about a dude whose daughter got kidnapped and he teams up with a dude whose wife went missing to take down an entire trafficking operation. This movie thinks it's Man from Nowhere. You will never be Troy. Before it even came out, it was argued to be in contention with The Raid or, God forbid, The Raid 2. Some were even saying it was the new greatest action movie of all time, but I will be the judge of that. Starting with the first two fight scenes. So she got taken from this guy, Xia Miao, the main character. He sprints after the truck, actually running faster than the truck. Once he catches up to it, he jumps up on the door and pulls the emergency brake. Then he gives this guy a headbutt to the nose and takes the key out of the ignition and throws it. Well, heck yeah. A movie where the main character isn't stupid or gives up too early. He does the actual smart thing here by eliminating the potential for this truck to move at least for a good solid chunk of time. This hunk of a dude runs at him and knocks him in the air, and he lands like this on solid concrete. Two things. This guy's name is Brian Lee, and I'll get back to him later because I actually really like this dude. Spoiler alert though, he learned how to fight by watching movies. And B, shit gets this kind of airtime and lands like this on his side. Solid concrete, and he gets up immediately. So in this video, I want to be saying the word realistic. So let me state the rules of this word. Realistic in this movie will mean that the moves done are real moves that would work in real life. These actors all do their own stunts, and they all know martial arts. But if this specifically happened in real life, you're not getting back up that fast. Here's another case in point. She tries to run past Brian and gets suplexed. Solid concrete. She holds his head to show there's pain, but he gets over it pretty quickly. There's a lot of outrageous stunts in this movie, so this is the only time I'll harp on it. Brian picks up Shia like this. Shia needs to take his left leg and give him a heel to the groin. His right elbow to his nose could work as well. This guy runs around as Shia held sideways and double kicks him, landing on his own back on the concrete and sending Shia far out. He gets taken into this building where he jumps back and knocks this guy over somehow. He's holding his shin here. Maybe the idea was a shin scrape or a foot stomp. Both are painful. He spins around and look at this twirly business. An elbow to the knee and the lower back. Elbows are hard and painful, and in the Raid movies, characters strike at the knee so many times. And I'm not shocked this is happening here too. It's a common area to target in self-defense because it's a joint. And even if you're the size of Kingpin, your joints are still going to be weak points. Then shit tries to run away. Again, this character is doing the smart thing to escape and get his daughter. Brian Lee propels off the wall to kick Shia in the chest. I love it. Just like Daredevil. Brian double foots Shia back and does way too much just to stand up. All that agility in such a big body. I'm telling you, I like this guy. Shia runs this guy into Brian where his neck gets grabbed. The carotid arteries are right there and they supply blood to the brain. When they are compressed, that's when people get choked out. Restricted blood flow to the brain knocks out or kills people. Therefore, this compression from Brian needs to be relieved ASAP for Shia's sake. Shia just splits these legs and trips Afro Dude on his one leg and tries to escape again. Now imagine if the situation was that he's not chasing after a daughter. He just got into a fight. It may make sense for him to just take care of these two first, right? No. Escape should always be the first priority in any street fight. Drop your ego, drop your pride. You need to constantly be trying to escape, especially since he's outnumbered. The way Brian's holding his arm here, especially with his strength, could totally be pulled further into an arm bar type of thing. He gets up against the wall, dodges this kick, holds a punch by Brian before doing two reverse windmills. The second one double palm striking his face, kinda. He elbows into Brian's stomach, kicks into Afro's groin, then dodges Brian's left hook and spinning down, kicking his heel into Afro's head, and then punching Brian in the balls. And in fact, he actually speed bags them a little bit. He jumps in between his legs and pushes them out. No doubt, Brian Lee has insane inflexibility, so this is fine, but the average Joe could get injured from something like this. Shia rolls under the dude's legs and locks his wrist out, striking this guy behind the ear with his radius bone. A bony palm strike or wrist strike behind the ear can cause a world of life-altering issues. That's a really good spot to aim for in a life or death scenario. Keyword, life or death. He also holds the arm here again on the carotid artery. Holding just one artery takes longer to knock unconscious, but it does cause lightheadedness. Since we're on this topic of brain injuries, check this out. That's solid metal to the dome. Then he gets up. All good. Hits this guy once, and he's down. Ugh, whatever. I'll let it slide, I guess. Shia hops in the back of the truck looking for his daughter. Kinda shocked he's not able to find her immediately, but Afro Dude starts suffocating him with a trash bag, simultaneously kneeing him. Shia pulls Afro's shirt up to wrap it tightly around his arms and keep them restrained. He gets out, and they get in this position. Shia could kick him in the balls, hit the back of the knee, twist the heel into a joint lock, anything but just stand there. Afro spins to kick Shia, then jumps backward off the top poles of this truck for Shia to slam him on the ground. In fighting, in life, you want to generally pick the best move on the chessboard. At the very least, a good enough move. This was the absolutely worst move on the chessboard here. What was he trying to accomplish here? This breaks like 15 rules I can make up right now in my head for how dumb it is. Shia locates his daughter, kicks Afro off, where Brian Lee comes in with the sledgehammer of doom and misses twice. Struggles for a second, and then just launches Shia off the side of the truck. Then Shia sprints after the truck for a really long time. Then he gets hit by another car. Watch this. this. He stands back up immediately. I recognize this stuff's outrageous in this movie on purpose. And still, sometimes I'm looking at these scenes like there is no way. This fight scene essentially set the standard for the rest of the movie. A standard that needs to be upheld, which is that the stunts are insane and people are going to get insanely hurt. This is cool at first, but eventually I get taken out of the action as it all is just insane moves and techniques that seemingly do no damage. The stakes get lost and it all can just become visual noise. For some reason, which I'll delve a little bit deeper into later, what the Raid was able to do that this movie isn't doing is living in this middle ground between crazy action but staying grounded enough to keep me, specifically, really hooked into the action. This doesn't mean I don't like this movie's action. I really like this movie, and I had a blast watching it, especially when the man himself, Joe Taslim, walks on screen. He's being escorted to the child trafficker boss's lounge, and they're in this fighting arena slash club. At the same time, Shia is pulling up to confront Afro Dude. Brian Lee tells Afro to stay back. Hold on a minute, you stay. And Joe goes into the room to start applying pressure to Boss Man. Shia converges with Afro Dude and demands that he get him to his daughter. Afro slow walks away, but flips around instead to throw a punch, which is obviously predictable. Shia runs into his torso and hits both of his arms under Afro's arms, spins him over, then grabs his throat to put him against the balcony. Remember what he did with his arms there. Now Shia just wants his daughter. He'll do what he has to, but not more than he needs to. That's why he's restraining Afro, then demanding his daughter. Two people attack him, just grabbing his face. No punch or anything. Bit weird. Shia blocks a spinning knee, then kicks his leg out from under him. He was running forward and his balance may have been off, but at least try to push his shoulder as well to make sure his upper body's off balance. Kazushi. Then this one's interesting. He lays this guy out and pulls his leg out, goes under it to then trap Afro in between his legs. Two birds, one stone. He then elbows his back, kicks one leg, spins and kicks the other, and delivers a final hit to the torso. Then he puts his arms up like he's going to strike him, where Afro falls for it and covers his face, opening his torso for a toe kick to the solar plexus. Pointy toe meets a bundle of nerves. Yes, that is painful. This guy's for sure got the wind knocked out of him. Then again, Shia demands his daughter, where Afro breaks a bottle on him, hops down from the balcony, grabs a mic, and he's got a gun! When I saw that, that genuinely made me laugh. The movie needed to solidify that Afro is a coward. Joe Taslim and Mr. Song, which is the trafficking boss, Mr. Song, find out about the guy with a gun. Joe protests that it has nothing to do with me. Mr. Song! But when he realizes it's a lost cause, he resigns his demeanor and prepares to absolutely throw down. And throw down he does. Worth mentioning first, Joe Taslim is a champion in judo. Shia Miao is a champion in wushu. And the other actors are also highly skilled in their own respective martial art. You know, Brian Lee, having learned from kung fu movies and YouTube videos, Yayin Ruhian, Silat, their own individual styles coming through is seen in this movie, especially in the final fight scene. But notice what Joe does first here. He throws this guy into this dude, taking care of them both. He gets attacked by two, one hitting him with a bucket, another just punching him where he's just trying not to get hurt while he searches for opportunity. He gets a few street level crappy punches on this dude, tosses this guy away, and then headbutts this dude, sticks his leg in between his legs, then takes him down. Judo. Guy gets up and Joe kicks his foot back and does a very similar takedown, but lifts his leg up to get more height and power for the throwdown. Joe takes the next dude's arm and pulls it off of him. Could have gripped his hand better and gone for a joint lock, but instead he goes for a throw. Shia gets trampled by a dozen dudes and gets into what I'm gonna call pyramid mode. You can see he's on top of all these dudes like a pyramid, and he rolls over everyone very oddly but efficiently. Shia rolls down over them and everybody falls at once for no reason. I get it looks cool, but come on. Shia chases Afro into the octagon, and these guys trap Shia in this ring like, "You're going nowhere." He checks a shin kick with his shin, which would hurt pretty bad, but these guys likely have trained their shins a lot. Shia acts like he's about to hit him, but doesn't. He does that prank sometimes. He checks a kick, then dodges both of them by bringing his legs up. This guy's coming down at Shia, where he pulls a hammer out of his coat and hits his glass, then his chest. He pukes up at the hit. That's life-threatening. Puking up is the least of his problems. Sternum injuries can bruise your organs, your bones. It can get bad. Everyone still gathers around him when the hammer's out. A little fighting 101. Every single person here who cares about living should be gone. In a fight, there's 3 tiers to rappel down when a weapon comes out. First, you escape. Always try to escape. If that's not possible, you search your environment to find a weapon of your own. Anything. And if you've seen other videos of mine, you'll realize just how much of your environment can be used as a weapon. And if that's not possible, that's when you defend yourself. The odds are heavily against you. But what are you gonna do? Just let him wail on you? This guy's hands are up and Shia jumps forward with an outward wrap to grab and trap his arms, then hit him in the back with the hammer. The bruises show up immediately. That's a good touch from the filmmakers. Shia also hits at his body with his left arm the same amount as his right arm. Symmetry. He picks his leg up and snaps it with the hammer, gets in a group, blocks with his hammer, then pushes the shoulder back, pushes him further with his hand. Something that actually makes the body turn more from using someone's limb is going above the bend. Above the bend makes the body turn. Shia blocks a beer bottle incoming, falls back, his legs taken over this dude's head, and he comes down with the beer bottle, but Shia dodges under the armpit and is essentially in pyramid building mode. He's trying to put people underneath him so he can tackle the next person incoming and put them underneath him. How realistic is it for the dudes under him not to just get out, you know? But it's a movie, so he wraps the leg around the next dude and propels himself up on top of another dude. The next guy grabs both of his legs and throws him up. What was the goal of that? It's essentially just a move to help it look cool, but not have any realism to it. Just like when everyone fell down on the pyramid earlier. Now think of that as opposed to the raid. There's fine details to keep the realism, and they just do it for the love of the game, because in real time, everyone usually misses it, unless you go frame by frame like I did. The dude that catches him just kind of stands there, acting like he's doing something. Again, it's a movie, but people comparing this to the raid, it seems to just be that two of the actors are the same, and the stunts are over the top. In the raid, the director said every single actor and extra needed to be doing something real. In the background, in the main sequence, everything. There was no actor allowed to be doing nothing, just like this guy is doing right here. And yes, this movie's got good action, and the raid isn't a holy grail or anything, but the extreme comparisons to the raid boils down to one thing. Recency bias, in my opinion. This guy alley-oops Shia so he can hammer into this guy's face. Look at this dude, just trying to keep him balancing. You will never be Troy. This is a clear stunt double there to accelerate the scene where your eyes, yes, your eyes, are distracted by crazy hammer throws. But if you pay attention to something else for a few seconds, you realize the extras are doing nothing and you get taken out of the action. At least I do. Shia gets more people down on him and is in pyramid mode again. Look at Sergeant NPC here waltzing into a beating. He goes after Afro Dude and snipes him with the hammer. He dives in and takes his legs down with an inward arm wrapping motion similar to his outward arm wrapping motion from before. These moves are essentially focused on trapping, used to wrap around people's limbs and trap them.
I let a round wrap around brown, how you gonna get around that?
We cut back to Joe grappling on the ground, kind of. The dude on him is literally a dead fish. Joe, I think you knocked him out already. He then pump fakes, and this guy falls for it, before Joe actually throws the bottle. Amazing accuracy, just like the hammer throw a second ago. Back to Shia, he hits into both of his armpits just like before. This is common in these movies. The brachial plexus is a nerve bundle that runs along the arm like this. A blow to those nerves shocks the arm. It's painful and shuts down the limbs temporarily. That's why Shia does this so much. He double elbows, and wow, that was super fluid. I like that a lot. He shins his face, spins around to roll Afro back with his leg. Very smooth. I really messed with that little sequence. And Shia uses every part of his body available to him there. Back to Joe, he's running away. A few punches, then throws him down and punches him. Back to Shia. He wraps his arm around an incoming punch, goes through the arm, and knocks him back with his body. Joe's still taking care of the guy from before, and mid-takedown, he throws Afro over the railing, flat on the octagon ground. Afro spits up like a baby, and Shia realizes his connection to his daughter has just been taken out, so he sees Joe Taslim and decides to go for him. Joe runs and tries downloading something from this computer to get information for his missing wife, where Shia, with his unbelievable stealth, comes up behind and begins to choke Joe out, leading to them falling through glass. Joe goes to kick out Shia's leg, and cut to Shia jumping over the leg. That's a bit sloppy editing there, fellas. Joe does this. He's using his arms to off-balance Shia's upper body. This part of a judo takedown is Kazushi. It's very disguised because Joe's a skilled judo champion. He needs to disguise it for his opponent not to know when they're being off-balanced. Therefore, boom. Joe tries to grapple over him, where Shia does this. He pushes off the ground, goes under Joe, and clasps his hand together to rotate out of Joe's grip. Then a palm strike to Joe's nose. Radial bone plus nose equals pain, nosebleed, disorientation, etc. Not a nonchalant annoyance like Joe shows here, although in this universe, pain is at a 0.10 times multiplier. Shia gets into stance. He's a wushu champion, and this is a fighting stance that's taught in wushu, you know, kung fu, low center of gravity, hands up, etc. Joe hits his hand, goes again, where Shia absolutely turns it on. Punch in the stomach, block right arm, parries right, pulls down, elbow to the neck, brachial plexus is right there, very close to the surface. Layman's term, it's a weak point. Puts his knee in this triangle between Joe's limb and torso to block him from pushing further, and a palm strike across the face. If I had a choice between a bare knuckle punch or a palm strike, here, I know you're a visual learner, so let me paint you a picture. If it was a choice between a punch and a palm strike, I'm choosing the palm strike. You probably probably are not going to break your forearm, but with a punch, you are very likely to break your knuckles. It's literally physics. Shia then passes Joe's arm all the way around, puts a blow in the armpit and 2 more down his body, traps Joe's arm, and Joe parries Shia's arm, tying them up with their limbs. He gets out and hits the inside of Joe's arm, brachial plexus right there. That's what he was doing earlier with Afro Dude, but Joe tanks it for an attempted throw. This here is pretty common when it comes to 2 skilled martial artists. When both people are skilled and aware of the other's intent to off balance and throw them, similar to this situation, people will commit to a takedown without it fully working, and you get in this awkward, almost takedown position where you both are struggling in vulnerable, weird positions. Shia gets up and hits a blow right here, in the neck, but also in the trap. As I said before, this has a chain effect down the whole limb because it's the brachial plexus. It's painful. It's a weak point. I talk about this a lot. He also hits in his chest, and then they pause for a second. One fluff of the jacket, and look at Shia's stance once again. Very low center of gravity. He's ready. He catches the punch on his shoulder, trapping it and putting pressure on Joe's elbow. Man from nowhere, extraction. This is a classic. Joe tries to throw Shia by trapping his arm. Joe blocks a punch with his forearm. Shia is able to take that to get a good grip on him and swings under his arm. With enough force, he could have flipped Joe forward on his back. Shia shoulders into his chest with his arms trapped. He could have done a headbutt, but then he goes for a throat chop. Joe's like, oh, ouch. So many movies don't do the throat chop justice. You'd be shocked at how fast someone goes down when hitting the throat. Then this sequence where 0 hits are done until Joe smacks that hand like, get out of my face. Gets his punch caught with Shia's arm around his neck and an elbow to the mouth. Ouch, man. His whole face would go numb there. He then struggles to take him down for a second, grapple, and look at Joe! Dude, at least pretend you're doing something. He looks like he's just letting it happen. Joe pulls his arm in, and Shia puts his arm over, tying them up. Then, Shia drags his finger across Joe's eye. This isn't exactly eye gouging, but eye gouging works. It's a very painful, very vulnerable area. In a life or death scenario, that's something you can 100% aim for, especially if you're being grabbed or you're gonna clinch or something like that. Joe then slowly throws Shia over and puts him on the floor. They get out, and Joe shuts it down when he realizes they shouldn't even be fighting in the first place. In terms of length, skill, and stunts, these scenes outperform most movies. Some criticism this movie received is that its plot is super thin and the dialogue is trash. I can agree with that, except I didn't really mind the story behind it. I thought it was fine, though they didn't really make me care much about the little kid, unlike Man from Nowhere. Now for the comparison to The Raid, it clearly just comes down to what you're looking for. If you've seen my videos, you can easily box in what my preferences are for action movies. Does it look cool? And does it seem realistic? Bonus, can I learn from it? Double bonus, is the story good? So for this movie, these stunts look cool at first, but it's like a drug. You're gonna need to up the stakes in stunts more and more to keep me interested. But don't go too far, like John Wick falling off a building and living, because then you've lost me. And I prefer to see when hits actually do damage. The Raid can drift from that quite a bit, but they exist in a very good middle ground, as I said. And for what I personally look for, I don't really compare this movie to The Raid. They're both action movies, but they're just different styles with different goals for the viewer. I don't think it's better or worse. I just think it's different. Anyway, I still like this movie a lot, even though this video might make it seem like I didn't. I'll make more videos on it, especially that final fight scene, hey? Thanks Kristen P. Alex, dope name, Guido Masso, Guido, Christopher Dean, again, P-Nab, Crocodile, and Mikey. Thank you guys for suggesting The Furious in the Google form. If you have a movie request, check out the first link in the description and let me know. I read it every day. I got a lot of comments for The Furious as well, so thank you to everyone that requested. Anyway, great fight scenes. New video soon. Peace.